to RC Underground Radio.
We're racing toy cars here.
If you've been looking for a podcast that talks about one RC tracks, suppliers, and events, then you're in the right place.
I haven't changed my underwear since the Kenman. I'm not kidding.
I'm
not kidding. It's the same.
I didn't want to go there.
It's this.
And we're glad you're here. Now, here are your hosts, Ryan Retzloff and David Brinkman.
I am a BB in a boxcar.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to the RC Underground Radio Show. This is episode 2 of season 2. I've got my co-host, as we say, the talent, Ryan Ratzloff with me here, and we have an amazing guest. We said we were coming right out of the box. We weren't lying. We said we're coming right out of the box with a great guest. And wouldn't you agree, Ryan? We've got it. Yeah,
I'll tell you, this guy, when I started getting into the bigger cars, getting out of the 1RC world and trying to figure out what I wanted to do next in my racing journey and my nerdy little hobby that I have, street stock slash was the next progression. And so, YouTube is an awesome format, and you could search for anything. And I searched street stock slash, and the first video that popped up was this guy called JB Trickle, RC Studios, and he had a tutorial on there on how to convert this car over. And I watched it, and I was like, I'm in. JB, it's so awesome to have you here. And part of this show. Welcome, my friend.
I appreciate it. I appreciate all the kind words. I appreciate the invite and you guys having me on. I was actually watching some of your episodes earlier in the day on my lunch break at work as well. So to say thank you to you guys as well for what you do for the hobby. I especially watched your season 2, episode 1, coming in here fresh and everything. So. Again, thank you as well. It's good to be here.
Yeah, we appreciate that. I mean, there's such a correlation, right? And it's the same for myself. I watched all your stuff. I loved when you went to the Slash Worlds and you covered all that and all the different tracks you've been to. So I'm going to share right off the bat a little tidbit that I don't even think I've shared with Ryan, but your channel and your videos have inspired people to race. But they also inspired us to do this. I'm not blowing smoke or anything. So we would watch your videos and then we would talk. Ryan and I worked together. And so I'd be in his office and we'd be talking RC. But mostly at the time it was your videos because we really hadn't launched our racing or gotten back in it again. And I made the comment to him. I'm like, man, we've been talking about this for like 45 minutes. Like, we should do a podcast. And the reason I even had that thought in my head was from each of us being motivated to talk about these cars because we've been watching your videos. And so really, if it wasn't for JB Trickle, there might not be an RC Underground Radio. Now, there might be some people that'll send you hate mail because of that. But no. So we're not saying it's his fault. That's what I just want to make clear. Well, it's not his fault there's an RC Underground Radio.
I'd still be trying to figure out how to put that slash together, JB.
Right? Oh, yeah, I hear you. And again, I really do appreciate it. And my channel, I was inspired by, other areas of YouTube as well, getting involved with my son. And to give you a little bit of background of my start in YouTube, if that's okay. I was in the RC hobby. My son was still young at that age, but with a lot of the junk that's on TV now, and we find ourselves watching YouTube more than regular television. And with that, I was like, well, I could do this to help people promote the hobby, and it gives something for my son to watch that I know he can. So that's the reason of my channel. If you probably hadn't already noticed, I try to keep it clean, family-oriented, family-friendly, and so on and so forth. And then it quickly grew into, race coverage, promoting the hobby in our area, the various racetracks I went to locally and whenever I traveled. And then my ultimate goal to just try to help people. I know we were discussing a little bit earlier, but I found myself, I witnessed some people walk away from the hobby because they weren't getting the help, whether it be they're not asking the right people or the right questions, or maybe they're just too nervous to ask. I don't know. Most people at any RC track are friendly and will help you, but you may not know who to talk to yet. So I wanted to give that group of people somewhere to go and something to watch, and if I could help, I could. And, I covered everything that I was knowledgeable in from various years of RC racing. I'm sure you guys seen some of my pan car tutorials and the dirt oval. Like you said, the track slash was a big thing. And then I went into the drag world and the crawling world. I was trying to learn to help people be able to jump in as well and not have to scratch their heads as much as some of us do when we're just starting out without any help. I've been in and out of the hobby it's been well over 20 years now. So and to be honest with you too, I mean, if you look at my channel on the scale of other YouTubers, it's not a huge channel, but for what we do, I do feel it's been successful. And the feedback that I've gotten from a lot of racers, I get emails, private messages through Facebook Messenger all the time. People thanking me for this or asking questions about, well, you haven't covered this yet. Can you give me any help on this particular topic? And I'm always willing to help. And I don't know everything. And if I don't know the answer, I will go out of my way to try to get the answer to help somebody.
That's what this hobby needs so much. I've been in it since 1978, and so I've seen all out of ebbs and flows. I was out of it for probably close to 15, almost 18 years myself, right? But what always brings you back in is the people. And boy, if we had this kind of platform back in the day, this hobby would probably exponentially be bigger, right? And if there were people like yourself who want to provide that support and help and, hey, you can do this. I mean, just your painting tutorial, your 5-part painting tutorial. I mean, I would have never painted a car, but I was like, you know what? I might actually tackle this someday.
Right.
Yeah, there's and that's the thing, JB, is you mentioned meeting people at tracks, and most of them are helpful. They really are.
Yeah.
What we experience here up in Wisconsin, we've got some great tracks, and Trackside being one of them. Attitude, I race there, just friendly people. Some of the best friendships I have are from people that I've met at the RC track. I mean, it's insane. And they're willing to give you a setup, right? Like, hey, help you out. Yeah, my car's loose off. Well, throw a shim in the right front or left front or whatever, and guys do that. And that is super helpful because it keeps you coming back for more,
Yeah.
So that's cool that you're doing something like that on a platform. I know I appreciate it. I mean, heck, the conversion video, I think it's got 43,000 views. I'm probably about 500 of them. But that's huge. 43,000 people have looked at that video and your speed secrets. It says a lot about what you're doing. And what I love most, and I'm not trying to genuflect to you here, but I remember telling David, I go, watching his videos, just the way he talks, so well spoken, well mannered. I love that because there's a lot of stuff on YouTube out there that isn't clean. You're always just so respectful. So I love that. I love it. So
I think what resonates too, real quick, is on that fact is like watching your videos. Like if you were not in RC and watched your videos, you'd be like, okay, if there's people like this in the hobby, I'm gonna get involved because he's a good dude and well spoken and So if this is a representation of this hobby, I want to jump in.
Right. Yeah. No, I really appreciate it, and it always humbles me hearing different people tell me about how the channel's affected them and helped them and inspired them in various ways. Because like I said, I'm just your average Joe that wanted to just help people and help promote the hobby. And to get the feedback that I've gotten is amazing. And kind of a funny story too, talking about like the multi-episode painting tutorial or my speed secret tutorial. I've got friends from all over the hobby, like you said. Some of my best friends in life has come from the hobby. And without doing something like this, it's not going to be without some drama and some negative people that want to try to hurt what you're doing, or for whatever reasons. Those people just exist. And I had a few people come back to me and say, well, so-and-so said this and that. And I'm like, well, let them say what they want to say. That person's not my target audience. My target audience is helping the people get into the hobby, help the people come to, help them have something and somewhere to go to be able to get those first steps and get rolling. Sure, I covered some stuff that you could say was a little more advanced, but a lot of the stuff was to help people get involved and get going. That basic setup 101 tutorial, that's something you need to know early on, but then I do a follow-up video and take, the next level and go a little more advanced with it. But whenever you mentioned about that 4-episode video and the speed secrets, I thought that was funny, because I remember that one conversation when I had with my friend about that. One or two individuals that like to be naysayers,
Hey, what's the old saying? Haters gonna hate. I mean, there's Ryan and I call them screen scratchers, right?
Right.
That's all. That's their hobby. That's their hobby,
right,
is thinking they're better, and they're so you just got to laugh those ones off.
Right. Yeah, but you got to appreciate those, people that do that. I mean, Matt Murphy in the 1RC world, he's been influential to a lot of people because he's done videos and, hey, this is what you need to do in order to make these cars work. He shares setup sheets. It's people like that keep the hobby going for us. Keep us going. You look at, you buy a car out of the box, and quite frankly, if you're running dirt oval, especially a slash, right, you're going to be out to lunch right out of the gate. Right. So to have something like that, and even with 1RC, I know you've gotten pretty engaged in it. A lot of your videos and all of that. 1RC cars, what got me going on them, and I'm not an engineer, but I did sleep at a Holiday Inn last night, JB. So I share a lot of the analytical stuff like you do, and what got me going about those cars is subtle changes make big effects. The guys at 1RC just did a fantastic job, and so understanding the setups and how to get those cars to work on different surfaces has been great, and Matt's been awesome in that. So it is really about helping others, and keeping it going.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned Matt. So shout out to the Murph Dog himself. He was influential for me. We communicated a few times through Facebook over the years, but I finally got to meet him in person whenever I was helping out and getting Billy started over at the Anderson, the Thunderdome, which has been featured on the channel a lot. And he also reached out to Matt, the Murph Dog, and he's come out and done a lot of announcing for the races and so on. So I finally got to meet him in person, but that's another awesome individual. And to further my shout out to him, a lot of my basic setup and tuning came from his original Tuning 101 guide. He said, me and him had an interesting conversation like we're having now. Matt had a lot of influence and help just like I did before him, so he put together that guide. And then that guide's been around forever. He just did a revision, I think it was last year sometime, and which I found to be kind of funny too, because it's like, here's the new revision. I always promoted it. I promoted his newest revision on my channel as well. But I took a lot of what I had from that guide, and I learned from other people just like Matt, and applied that with a lot of my tutorials and so on and so forth. But again, you listeners and watchers, you got to go check out some of Matt's stuff too. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's that chassis tuning guide 101. I have it in a binder. I take it to the track with me. Yeah. You think and then you're scratching your head going, I can't figure this out. Why is this car doing this? And then you go to Matt, you go to that chassis guide, and you just got to dig, and all the information is there. And how cool that guy. And I even asked him, I said, why didn't you just publish this thing? And he goes, no, man. He goes, you got to keep people in this sport. You got to, this is me paying it forward kind of deal. And that is so cool that he does that and is just so humble about it. I mean, the guy is a brain. You know, I mean, if you saw him on the street with his pink or yellow hair or whatever, that's and you go, oh, he is so intelligent, you know. And I find that too with all of us in the hobby. We all have our special little niche on something, right? And sharing that with others, and it's just cool that you guys do that, you know. And that's what's great about this community is you're taking time to talk with us. You know, we're learning. You're doing the YouTube videos. Like, it's just, it's absolutely fantastic. What I think a lot of people do for the hobby and for others. It really goes to show how little toy cars bring us together and make us better humans. So cool. So cool.
Absolutely.
So I've noticed that you haven't posted a lot of videos on YouTube, and I love them. I will admit. I'm not good at hitting the like button, though. Darn it! I apologize for that. If I have to, I'll go through. I mean, you can see all the ones that I've viewed, but you haven't done it in a while, JB. And is there a reason for that, or taking a break for a while?
Yeah, and we can definitely discuss that. And it's kind of funny the whole timing for this podcast and this question. I have been contemplating on uploading a kind of an update video on the channel for a while now, because I did take a break for various reasons, but I often question myself. It's like, you know, even though I haven't uploaded anything in a while, it's still active. I still have questions and comments appear on several episodes. I'm still proactive. If you go and look at the comment section, if somebody comments, I try my best to either like it or comment back.
Yeah.
You know, let them know I'm here, I'm listening. I'm trying to help you if I can. So it's almost one of those, if it's not broke, don't fix it things. So that's kind of one reason why I haven't actually uploaded and told anybody why. But I think it's about time that I do that. But yeah, absolutely, we can get into that. I took a break for various reasons. One, I'm a family man. I do have 2 younger children. I have a 9-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter. And over the 2 years of launching the YouTube channel, that's almost 2 years of I'm gone every weekend. I'm racing. I'm filming. I come home. I still work a full-time job. I'm editing videos. So everything you see on the channel, I filmed, I edited, I did everything. I don't have an editor or anything like that. So I would be up until 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes during the evenings of the week, editing videos. And I'm watching my kids grow. And don't get me wrong, we still took vacations, and I still got to do that. But every weekend, being gone and RC racing and filming and then editing through the week for 2 years straight, it got cumbersome. You know, I got I don't want to say burn out, because I don't think that's necessarily the right word, because I still love the hobby and I plan on coming back to the hobby. But I got tired. I needed a break away. So I took, I'd say, about 3 or 4 months off. And then I was like, okay, I'm refreshed. Let me go to another race again. And I go to a race, and I had fun, but I went home and I started editing the videos again. And I said, I'm not ready to be doing this again just yet. And in the time away, because now it's been nearly a year, I've just spent a lot more time with the kids, weekend adventures, doing things with the family, and so on and so forth. So to anybody watching, to answer your question, the channel's not going anywhere. I still love the hobby, and I plan on coming back to the hobby soon. Actually, that's been another recent discussion. I'm trying to figure out where, how, and when. That's my question. Because I kind of feel like I want to do something a little bit different, you know, so.
Yeah, JB, you know, that is one of the most honorable reasons as to why to take a break. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but, you know, it is family first. Right. You know, as a fanboy of your channel and just respecting everything you do there, I don't think there's anyone that would be disappointed with that type of answer. You know, I'm glad to hear it's that and not other things.
Right.
You know, we all have kids at home, and, you know, to say that and to spend time with them, there's nobody that should ever give you any heat for that. So, good. That's good. I'm glad you're spending time with your kids and your family. And, I'll just say it now. Thank you for doing this. Thank your wife and thank your children for allowing you to take some time to do this, because it is important. But when you started going into it, man, the hair on my neck stood up, because that's a very important thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we totally relate. We totally relate. Doing this podcast. I mean, we're 20 some episodes in, and not exactly what you said. It's a blast. It's fun, but it's time consuming. It takes time away from family. I'm right with you with the editing and all that. I know it's involved in that. It's a passion of mine. It has to be a passion of yours, or you wouldn't do it, right? It's not just that it's a part of it. If you want it to look a certain way, it's because you have a passion of how you want it to look. So I totally get that side. And like Ryan said, I just completely respect your decisions on what you did. But yeah, I can't lie. I would love to see some new ones, when you get a shot. So it's
coming. It is coming.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, you take your time, buddy. You take your time. Now, I have some questions, because you run pan cars, you run dirt oval. What is your favorite? What's your favorite racing? What's your favorite car to run?
Oh man, that that's such a hard question. The pan car racing, oval racing, I never got into carpet. I was always running the paved oval at Hobby Connection in Easley, South Carolina. And that was my intro to the hobby, period. The hobby, I've been in an RC car since I was a kid, but that was my first true hobby grade car and my first intro into this hobby. It was a Bowlink Legends car racing on the paved oval at Easley.
Wow.
Whenever I was a kid, and instant love right off the bat. And then of course it grew into the pan cars, running the NASCAR spec type stuff. And then a few things happened, and I decided to go the route of dirt oval for a while, get something new, try something new, and I instantly fell in love with that. And then I was 100% into dirt oval for so long, and then I was like, man, I would love to go back and run a pan car again. And I put one together with the help of some good friends, and basically built a car from scratch outside. I had some hyperdrive carbon fiber, had some friends that helped me get the aluminum pieces I need. And I went back out there again and raced, and it was like I never left. I loved it just as much as I did day one.
That's cool.
So if you told me if I had to choose one, I couldn't do it. I love it both.
No.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to dig in the weeds a little bit, because I have a 1RC track at my house. That's the RC Underground. I don't know if you've seen that at all, but
I did.
we're fortunate enough to have Murph. Yeah, Murph came out and surprised us and cleaned our clock and set our new track record and did all that stuff. But just real quick on Murph, when he left, what was it, Ryan? 3 days later, he gave a complete setup sheet of exactly what he ran when he was here. So that has helped so many of our new racers get a great start. So we're going to have a wild season this year. We got so many cars coming in with him helping them and Ryan helping them, and it's going to be dynamite. So, but you've run the 1RC cars. We have a lot of 1RC people that listen then, right? Even though we're covering the whole hobby, we kind of always end up funneling to 1RC at some point during our shows. So just give us your overall feeling of those 1RC cars. Absolutely.
First of all, I absolutely love them. And kind of a funny story on that, I never raced one on camera, though. They were unique, and I was just kind of playing around with them and getting accustomed to them. I filmed a lot of the races that I did not enter. But behind the scenes, I would run out there and do horrible, but I had a blast doing it, because it was my first time doing it. But what I love about it is one of my backgrounds that I never covered on the channel because it predates the channel was I did a lot of drifting at one point. We had a big group out here, and I love the scale side of RC, much like the crawlers, very scale-oriented. 1RC is so scale-oriented. Whenever you look at the car and the axles, the steering linkages, the suspension, everything about it, the way it's set up, the roll cage, the false engine, everything, I love the fact that it is a real car just scaled down. And it simplifies some areas, but also complicates some areas when it comes to setup because of that, if that makes sense.
Oh, for sure.
No, it absolutely does. Yes, it does complicate a lot of things. There's some funny stuff though. Like, so you're an engineering guy, and 1RC is your thing. So, do you remember? I think it was 2015. Was it? Yeah, I want to say 2015. I forget who the. I'm actually searching right now. There was this thing called the device. Do you remember hearing about that in dirt oval and dirt late models?
Yes.
That I'm challenging you to make me one of those. Since it's such a scalable car, JB, I want you to build me a device for the 1RC late model. You can do it at work. It's fine. We'll call it government work, but you're absolutely right. And that's the thing too with the 1RC. You can get into it for $220, pull it out of the box, and away you go. Right. That's another cool thing to get people into the hobby. Whereas other forms, other types, I mean, heck, I even looked into pan cars because I watched a lot of your videos, and they were really centered around a lot of that. And I thought, ooh, that looks pricey. By the time you start adding things up and really getting into it, it can be a little expensive. But I've seen those cars run, and boy, are they awesome. I mean, you talk about just grip all day long. They're fun to watch.
They are.
What we did. Oh
no. Go ahead. No, please.
No, you're all good. You're all good. Go. I was just going to say. So Ryan goes out and runs dirt cars for the summer, and now he enlists all these hot dogs to come over and run the 1RC cars this winter at the RC Underground. But it just ties back to what Ryan said. If these cars were, another $800,000 to put together, they'd be like, I just can't do another car. But when we say, $320, you are like, you've got every trick in the book and great set of batteries, and hook it up to your radio and come. They're like, oh yeah, I'm coming. Like they don't even think twice about it.
No, you're absolutely correct, and I think that's why, especially around here, the grassroots style of dirt oval racing has grown so much. The Traxxas based classes, because even going the route of a Traxxas, you're looking at I don't know what they cost currently, but let's say a $199 to $299 ready to run car. Change out the body post, put a street stock or late model body on it, go race and have fun. There's a huge market for that. 1RC is the same way. Like you said, you get a box stock car that's scale, it's ready to run, you pull it out of the box, you charge it up, you got a radio and everything, put it on the track and go have fun. You can grow and expand and upgrade as you go along. It draws people in because it's a lot more affordable. Because like you said, if you go look at some of these purpose-built cars, dirt oval racing, drag racing is a big one. They get expensive. And a lot of times with those kit cars, and I'm not knocking them because I've run a lot of the purpose-built cars too. Dirt oval, some drag racing, and paved oval racing, pan cars. But then you're paying several $100s. A pan car kit at one point in time, a hyperdrive may have been say $300-400, but all you're getting is carbon fiber and aluminum. You still got to buy the tires, the electronics, and so forth. Some of the top of the line drag chassis now, you're paying $600, $700, $800 just for carbon and some aluminum. You still got to buy everything else. Yeah. So it can be very off-putting to someone newer getting into the hobby. And that's where, your 1RC and your grassroots style racing really benefits and draws people in because it's a lot more affordable. But you're going to have just as much fun with that as you are, the high-end car, the high-dollar cars. And, I mean, I continue to race a lot of the grassroots style stuff too, even whenever I was still racing, the 21.5 class, so absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, 1RC, and I think even the slash, we call them street stock slash up here, but I think that's really kind of like the gateway into some of the, it's just the natural progression. Because I think, I'm starting to run SC mods and things like that. And it's a lot more frustrating because you've got all that money balled up in the car.
Yeah.
There's so many more adjustment points and things to do. It can be a little bit frustrating, but when I grab that Slash, right, or that 1RC car, I just go and squeeze the trigger and go have fun,
Yeah.
So, I think anybody starting out in the hobby, start small, and scale, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
No one's expecting you to go out and buy all this stuff and have the cream of the crop stuff. No. Start small and build up. I think that's how I got started. And now I'm a little obsessive about it.
Yeah.
But what's great doing it that way is, okay, so you don't have like you say, you don't have as much balled up in the car. So now you can get a nicer radio, or maybe you can get a nicer charger, right?
Yeah.
Or, motor dyno or whatever. And then, do that for a while. And now you've got all the components that you can apply to any car. Now it's just go get the next style car that you want. It's not so overwhelming that you got this $1,000 car and then you got another 1,000 or whatever tied up in all the equipment to support the car, right? You can just do that in stages while you're enjoying the hobby and you're also learning how to race. Yeah. And then start to add cars. It's literally exactly what Ryan did. And I think that's why he's enjoying it so much and having, and it's exciting is because he started with the 1RC and now he's like, okay, I kind of got this down. Won one of our biggest races last year. And now he's like, now he's venturing onto dirt. Well, here's a whole new thing. But a lot of things he bought is supporting that. And he's coming right out of the box now on dirt and being very, competitive.
Yeah. JB, to that point, if there's somebody starting out in the hobby, let's say, what are some of the things that you'd recommend based on your years of experience in doing this? What are some of the things you'd recommend to a racer just starting out? Is it tools? Is it charge? What would you tell somebody? Don't cheap out on this. Spend a little extra if you can, type of deal.
If you're just starting out, my biggest tip is don't be afraid to start with what you have. It may not be the top tier radio. It may not even be the mid tier radio. To get started, you have to go to the track and do it. So, there's no way around that. My biggest thing that I try to tell people is whenever you're doing it, get some help to get the car set up to where it's drivable. If it's your first time out, chances are and it's your first time doing this kind of hobby, you're not going to have a car that's prepared to handle the track yet. So step one to me is get somebody to help you get a setup where the car is drivable. And the next biggest thing is I tell people is don't worry about racing the guy in front of you. Don't worry about trying to stay ahead of the guy behind you. What you need to work on is consistency and corner speed. That's where it's won and lost at in oval racing. I had someone ask me that on as a question through YouTube on one of the episodes a while back. And he goes, I finally got the car. It's hooked up. It's running good, but I feel like I'm still missing something. What am I doing wrong? And I said, the same thing, consistency and corner speed. That's where it's at. You can have all the horsepower you want and be a freight train through the straightaway, but if you can't get through the corner, you're not doing anything. But the second part of your question about equipment-wise, oftentimes, and a lot of times people don't want to spend extra money because you've already got money tied up in the car, but a good transmitter goes a long way. I'm not telling you got to go out and buy the latest, greatest, most expensive Futaba or whatever radio brand you're into, but at least a mid-grade one. One that has some advanced tuning available to it. A lot of your ready-to-run radios are so limited to your tuning. And a shout-out to an RC racing friend of mine by the name of Tommy Burgess. He has said before, you can get faster just with the radio, and there is some truth to that. Just because of the tuning you can do to get the car to work with your driving style. A lot more tuning is available in the transmitter itself.
Yeah, there's no doubt. That's actually great advice. It's funny. I obviously started out with just running 1RC and running their stock transmitter. I picked up a Futaba, a 4 PM or whatever it was, and I liked it. It was okay. I tell you what, the Fly Sky, the Nobles, for the money, that is one heck of a transmitter.
Oh yeah.
It's a great value add. The receivers are inexpensive. Just a good value. And again, you can do a lot of that programming. So if there is anybody that's listening, watching, that is thinking about that, and you're kind of just dipping your toes in the water, that Fly Sky Noble is really a nice piece for the money. And I think you can pick them up for under $200 with 2 transmitters or receivers, excuse me. Right. So
I've heard good things.
That's a great tip, JB.
I appreciate it. I've heard good things about those transmitters. Never tried one, never held one, but I've heard great things about it. Because over the years, I've tried different brands. I was on actually started out on Futaba, ended up on Spectrum. I think I tried a Sanwa for a little while, then I ended back up on Futaba. But that's very cool. I'm actually gonna go pull up and check that radio out now.
Yeah, there's a couple people that picked it apart. The guys that are running the high end Futabas and Sanwas and stuff like that. But again, being scalable, right? The Fly Sky really has a great interface that at least my goofy brain could understand and work with easily. And I think, now that you brought that up about the transmitter, I think that's a fantastic one for people to check out. It'll get you a good start. And if you really want to get nuts, you got your 10 PXRs and all that stuff, 7 PXRs out there. Futaba makes some great stuff, Oh,
yeah, yeah.
And what's cool, too, is that Fly Sky will work with the 1RC receivers, because that is a Fly Sky product as well. So you can bind that to it. So, if you got multiple cars, you can have that one transmitter. So pretty cool stuff.
Absolutely. Very cool. Yep.
So JB, a question for you. We're gonna do 2 shows coming up. If you listen to our first show, like you said, you might have picked up on some of it. We're gonna do a roundtable with track owners and promoters and such, and kind of like how you're doing tutorials to help people set up their cars. We're hoping what'll come out of it, even if it's just we help one guy decide to either start a track, or maybe somebody listens and they're like, wow, I'm going to really try that at my track. So you've been to a bunch of tracks. You've traveled a bunch. And I believe you said you've promoted some races too, right? Did you say that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So from that, so you've got both perspectives, right? You've got the driver perspective, but you also have the promoter perspective. Just on that theme, just what are things that you see that make a track successful? And then what are some things that doesn't make it successful?
Oh, there's God. It's hard to accept sometimes that you're not going to please everyone. That's a hard fact that I think everybody has to face at some point in their life. And if you're doing something like this, running a track, that's going to be one big thing you're going to find out you're going to have to face. And it can come in and punch you in the face like Mike Tyson. I mean, there's always going to be those 1 or 2 guys, and you have to give the place for the entry-level people to race, because as of right now, at least around here, your Traxxas classes are what's ruling the dirt oval scene. It's not the purpose-built classes. Now, it may be different parts of the U.S., but around here, that's a big part of it. So, to me, you have to be inviting to everybody as well. You want the beginners, the rookies, that they're just going to tear the walls down. You're going to want to give the mid-level guys a place, and you're going to want to give the top-tier classes a place. But the hardest part, in some instances, is getting some of those people to show up. For various reasons. So just remembering that you're not going to please everyone and doing your best to give everybody a place to race. But that can be, you have to be careful with that too, because you don't want to run. One thing I see now, and I don't want to talk negatively about it because I love what it's done for the hobby, but you could have one class that's essentially the same rules, same chassis, same tires, same electronics, but there's 3 different bodies for that. It's the same class. It's just a different body. You may have to limit that to give place for some of the other classes to fit in. Not everybody's going to like that. I understand that. But if there's 3 classes that for that particular race can run that one class just by changing the body to give some openings and opportunities for others as well to help grow the sport on every spectrum, that's what you may have to do sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, full classes is exciting. Like Ryan said, we have a track here called Attitude, and you go there and there's, what was there, Ryan? 40 slashes?
Street stocks, yeah. And overall, normal race day is about 130 cars. So you're right. It is important to invite make it welcoming for everyone. And keep the show. I think it's important too to keep the show moving, right? Because there's a lot of times I'm just running my street stock, right? And you've got the guys with the purpose-built cars, tons of money wadded up in these things. They're there to just let it rip, And to your point, you got us street stock guys putting them over the wall and bashing into everything. Those guys want to get moving with their races too. So it's important to run a tight ship.
It is. Matt's good at doing that, and I've got one of my track promoters here local. Shout out to CJ Mason if he's listening and watching. They keep it tight. If he says, and he'll tell you in the drivers' meeting, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to cause anything, but we've got a lot of classes in a short period of time to get it all in. So we're going to be moving today, and we've got some racers on the club level. If it's not a big race, they'll run 3 or 4 classes. Whenever it's a race day like that, they can't do that. They're not going to be ready. Yeah. So, but absolutely, I agree with you 100%. Absolutely.
Well, you did a shout out to CJ Mason. I'm going to do the same. So when we do that episode, however, I got to get a hold of you, CJ. I'd love you to be on that panel. We're going to do it right here off this Riverside app, and we'll have multiple guys on the screen at the same time. We can do as many as we want. So shout out to you, buddy. I want to see CJ Mason on that. I think he'll have some, if that's how he runs his show, he could be a very integral part of that show that we're going to do.
Yeah.
So it's funny, JB, I got to tell you something. So watching that first setup video, on the Slash, you built shocks, right? And you're like, I just use this old coffee mug here. Yeah. So here's my coffee mug. You can see in it, I got some blue paper towels. And if I pull that out, it's all soaked full of shock oil. Right. So I followed you in that technique, and it's worked very well for me. So this coffee mug travels with me wherever I go, wherever I race. If I need to change some shock oil, so I wanted to throw that out there. I had to
you can thank my wife for that. She's like, no more. That's your coffee.
She said, "Why is that? Why is there a coffee cup missing?"
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's cool.
So JB, with this, this break that you're taking and everything, I think, which is obviously fantastic and well warranted on behalf of your family. It sounds like you do have some plans to get racing again, at least. Is that a fair statement?
Very fair, and that's what I meant too. Whenever I'm saying is more episodes are definitely coming. I will go far to say though, as the family man and the realization that I come to during my break, that the uploads won't be as often as they were, because I was pretty much a weekly upload. And much like, the YouTube channel that you guys are doing now and the podcast and so forth, the people that have not done what we have done have no idea the amount of work that actually goes into it. So if you're trying to raise a family and you work a full-time job outside of this, you're always doing something. So I'm definitely coming back. I can't say when, because I'm not 100% sure. The uploads will not be as frequently, but my goal is to still continue to help people. And entertain. I love to post videos of races and throw in funny clips and so on and so forth. My struggle currently is trying to decide what I want to do. I don't know that I necessarily want to go back to dirt oval racing this time, or paved oval, or I want to RC race, and I don't know where yet. I don't know if I'm going to go maybe get heavier into 1RC maybe, or, you know, maybe try off-road. I don't know. I've got some local tracks that are indoor carpet tracks now, and if I'm not mistaken, I was talking to one of my friends, Michael. I think they do some like 1/18th and like 1/24 scale carpet road course racing and things like that. So I want to do it. I just don't know where yet. And I'm not saying that I'm never going to dirt oval race again, or I'm never going to pan car race again, because chances are I will. But yeah. My return, I would like it to be something fresh. You know, try something new.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Now, do your children find any interest in RC racing? My
daughter is all girl. She's got no interest at it at all, and I'm talking like princess, I should say. You know, because there's plenty of girls that are all girl that love cars and racing and all that. But she's definitely the princess type. Now, my son has, and I did take him racing once. I featured him in 1 or 2 episodes on the channel. Yeah, and he did enjoy it, but at the time and the age he was at, he was still. It's hard to keep him focused. So I'm there trying to wrench on his cars, my cars, and it was so hard to keep him in one place and to keep him focused. Now, he had a blast, and I had a blast with him too.
Good.
But I think if I were to come back, he's older now. His attention span's better, so I would definitely bring him with me wherever I go or whatever I do this time. Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, cars, crawlers, whatever. They can be painted like pink and purple, and we can get fancy, you know, with some wraps and stuff like that. So I
tried.
You know, maybe we got to do one up for your daughter and get her really interested in it.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks, and I can't give all of it out, but we are going to be talking to a young female racer that goes all around the country and races her buggy. So maybe if she sees that episode, that'll spark her to say, "I want to do that, Dad. You can help me do that."
It's very.
And the second part, JB, yeah, I'd say the second part is I'd be remiss as a track owner if I didn't invite you to the RC Underground and say, "Hey, you know, if you're ever in the Wisconsin area, we're going to have the Foam Oval Nationals, which are going to be in May. Our weather's usually pretty good in May. It's a great place to come visit, so bring the fam. Ryan and I will make sure your wife and your children have a great time while you're all in town, and that's something we can talk more about off air. But boy, would that would be amazing to have you come visit the Underground.
Absolutely. I appreciate the invite, and that's something we can definitely discuss for the future. No doubt about it. I would love that.
Hey, that's awesome. So there's something I got to tell you about, JB. So This is an interesting story. I don't know if it'll make the final cut, but you did a video with Paul Peterson from Shark Bodies. And I tell you, you know, when I got into my Slash, I went out and I bought the Odd Design body because I just thought it looked cool. Yeah. You know, I didn't understand anything about aero or anything like that. And, you know, some tracks, you know, certain bodies work and whatnot. You know, I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. So I showed up to our local dirt oval track, Attitude Raceway, and Paul Peterson races there. Okay, so you've got the owner of Shark Bodies, right? And everybody there runs a Shark Body. I show up with my Odd Design. I don't know anybody from Adam, all right? And a guy comes over, what kind of body is that? And I said, well, it's an Odd Design, you know. Come on. It's awesome. You know, right. I had it all wrapped up. She's a beaut. And you know, I don't know, I've just felt like I got heat about it, you know, and it was just weird. And I don't know how to say it, but I have a personality that I'm going to do things my way. And if you don't like it, tough noogies, right? So it created, I think, a little bit of tension maybe between me and Paul, and we raced in the same class. And as a young racer, I'd never raced dirt oval before. I'm out there, and I may have chopped Paul a few times. So imagine, you know, this rookie coming out with an Odd Design body, you know, punting his car across the track. Now Paul's a good racer. I mean, he's second in points. We've got our final race coming up here, beginning of October. So it just created this tension, right?
Yeah.
And I had watched your video, but I quickly glanced over it because I wasn't into shark.
Right.
And my good friend Jason Walicki, who's good friends with Paul, Paul shared a story about losing his wife to leukemia, and it really set him back, and he decided to buy Shark RC bodies after that. And so I went back, I watched your video, and Paul told that story. And I was at the track, and I'm again talking to my good friend Jason Walicki, and he goes, if it wasn't for that company, that guy wouldn't be here today. It hit me, man. My Christian heart really took over, and I was told, you got to make friends with this guy, and so we've slowly been working on our relationship. And boy, what a cool guy to talk to, and his designs that he's coming up with these cars. I mean, I bought a body from him, my second Shark body, and I am so excited to run it. I got the Mustang. I can't remember the name of it. Outlaw, maybe. I don't know, for my buggy that I'm going to run at Chili Bowl. And he just built a new body for the Slash. It's got I can't remember the name of it. I apologize to you, Paul, but I would definitely encourage anyone to check that body out because it is raked beautifully, and it works very well, at least at our track, and I'm excited to try it at some others. So it just, how can I say this? It's just ironic, when because you brought it up earlier, right? People at the track, you don't know if you can talk to them, or you're intimidated, or there's that competition factor, right? And so we're like, and then my cockiness kind of took over. You not only do you hear Paul's story on your video, but I race against him now, and probably ticked him off a little bit, but now it's like I feel for this guy, and he is working his tail off producing. I mean, he's a one-man band doing all this. Think about that, So it was actually really inspiring. I rewatched that video last night, and I watched it in its entirety. You see his passion, and I know you guys have been friends for a long time. You pretty much run his stuff exclusively, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
As much as you can, at least.
On my Street Start stuff, any of my Traxxas Slash stuff, I was running Paul's body, Shark bodies, and Shark. I love him. He's a character. I had so much fun with him on that video. That interview, I think I was able to cut the video down to about an hour. And that was still with all the stuff that I wanted to show. I think we filmed 2.5 hours worth. I think we went on that much that night. But Paul is an amazing. It's
funny
guy.
because he said in the video, he's like, if to know me is to know I'm a talker. I say the same thing, so I feel like I have so much in common with him from that standpoint. But,
right.
No, just a good dude, and another reason for fellow drivers to really understand that you just don't judge a book by its cover. Everybody has a story. Everybody has something going on personally, professionally, in life. But we are there. We are there to have fun. We're there for the fellowship, right, and create some friendships, and that's where I know I'm getting a little off subject here, but I'm going to tell you, if you got a hardened heart, soften it up a little bit. And just know that everybody's there to have fun, a good time. I think that's so critical, and that's going to be the success of not only the hobby that we're in, but as well as going on and continuing to race and have fun. Because when you see those people and you can high five them, what's going on, buddy, and all that stuff, that's fun, and you can have that kind of intense fellowship where you kind of jacking around with a guy a little bit, or talking some trash. That's always the best, But as long as you're doing it in a respectful way, so pretty cool.
Absolutely.
We don't want to be the ones that take him away from his family, so we're going on 50-some minutes. Are you still okay?
Oh, yeah. Everything's good here. Yeah.
Okay.
And you don't need to cut anything either. You can just call this the raw, uncut episode. We can leave it at that.
The raw.
Yeah.
So, do I title
JB
it Getting Raw with JB? I mean, just think of the views we'll get.
Oh boy. No. Kids, it's a kid's show.
That's right.
Yeah.
It is. I
You know
do.
what?
I always mark that it's kid appropriate.
Family friendly.
You know, being a family friendly. But I tell you, JB, as a young child once, we all were, we never, I think, realize how much our parents really genuinely care about us until we get older.
Yeah.
So I would encourage your kids to watch this video, because the little bit that you spent talking about them, and saying, hey, I'm taking a break for them. I think it's important that I'm hoping that they get a chance to watch it. All kids watch YouTube. It's crazy to me. Hopefully your wife watches this too, or listens to the episode, because there's so much, again, I can't explain enough how, everything is more than that. These are just pieces of plastic that all bond us together. We've got a great story. I don't know if you ever got a chance to listen to it. The Ron Peacock story, who is a brother of mine and a man I love dearly and just a true inspiration. But he's got a terminal illness, and he's getting close to getting ready to race up in heaven. And I just talked with him the other day, and through this plastic, I wouldn't have had that friendship, and David wouldn't have had that friendship with him. And just watching your videos and you being so approachable, I just, that is the coolest thing about this. We all have something that binds us, brings us together, but yet when you break it down, the people that we talk to, the people that are involved in this are all just good human beings. Nick Ciccone that races the underground with us, Matt Murphy, a lot of the other, Sean Lewis, a lot of the other people that we've had, Charlie Kuzma from Digital Fabrication. All of these people just are good humans, and they just have nothing but love, and that is the most awesome thing. So I just encourage your family to listen to this, because it's a message that they can hear without you going, I love you, right? And they're like, yeah. Because I get that a lot of times with my kids. So I would just encourage them to listen to that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we talked on that first episode too. I was calling that out to Ryan about, he has the support system of his wife, right? He wasn't doing this over 2 years ago. He's got a small daughter at home, but even his small daughter's into it. Always ask him, hey, what are you doing, Dad? What are you doing, Dad? And then his wife, understands, and he gets to do this because she understands the kind of people that she's meeting, and she's happy with that. That's what he's doing. So, I'm sure it's the same with you in terms of your wife. I mean, you couldn't do any of the videos without her support.
Yeah, very much so. Especially on the nights, because I had a full-blown hobby room in the house, and then whenever we were expecting my daughter, it, of course, turned into the new baby's nursery. So my hobby room got moved into the kitchen dining area. So sometimes whenever I would have to do filming, and if it was a multi-day project, she wasn't too keen on that. But she allowed it. We got it done, and then I've got my workshop now. I think on the tail end, a couple of episodes may have been filmed in here too. Just didn't tell because I had a backdrop or something like that. So, but yeah, she's couldn't do it without her permission and love as well.
Yeah. I mean, I always say every great man has a fantastic wife behind him. Same for me. I mean, I have a racetrack in my basement, and bunch of people come and park in our driveway and hang out all day, and she comes down there and joins us, and we dressed her up as a princess for our Oval Kings race. I mean, she just plays along. So yeah, we're all very, very fortunate that we have that kind of support.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
So JB, I know you've said that you're going to come back. There's going to be a lot of people that either know of you and like, oh, great, he actually said it. Hey, we got it on camera. He said it. He's gonna come back. So they're waiting for that. Or there's going to be other people that this is the first time they're seeing you, and they're going to go, this is a great guy. Like, I want to know when that video is going to hit, no matter what it's about. Where can they see you? Where can they reach you? You said, and we know that your videos are live right now, and you said you get people talking about them all the time. So where can they go to see your stuff?
So they can go to JB Trickle RC on YouTube. That's my biggest platform. I was semi-active on TikTok. I'm on. I've got some stuff posted on Facebook. JB Trickle RC Studios is my Facebook page. My Instagram and Twitter, I'm really not active on, but I do check to see if I have messages there occasionally. But YouTube is without a doubt my biggest platform.
So again, we followed you. You could tell. It comes through in the videos. Obviously, it came through again tonight. Just who you are. But what really hits me is, I went into your description on your page, right?
Yeah.
And your the statement that just hit me in the center of my chest was, if one of my videos helps someone out occasionally, I consider that an accomplishment. I mean, that wraps it up, right? That and you probably wrote that. You had to write that description when you launched the page, right? And then that you have done that and continue to do that here on our show tonight. I know you've helped a lot of people tonight, just sharing your story and sharing where they can go to get help with this hobby. So from all of us, we couldn't be more thankful for giving up your time tonight, but then what you do out on your channel. So we just really appreciate you, buddy.
No, thank you. Thank you. I'm always humbled whenever people reach out to me and tell me things like that. So thank you as well.
Well, we hope it's an inspiration for one day, when you got time, right?
Yeah.
Which is probably be, when the kids are 30, to continue on, man.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Dave read that, and I quickly went to your about on YouTube, and I never even read that, but I knew watching your videos that you had that kind of mindset. So keep on keeping on, man. Don't forget about us. You do those videos. I'll be patiently waiting. Okay. But you got hours and hours. I think you got 90 videos posted up there. I'm going to go through and watch them from time to time because it's just good stuff. It's great content and it's good. It's positive, and that's what everybody needs. So just JB, thank you so much, man. It's been so cool to have you on this show. And
hey, no problem. Ryan, Dave, both of you guys, thank you so much for having me on, the invite. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'll be glad to do anything I can to help as well. So thank you.
You've been listening to RC Underground Radio. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, drop us a line at rcuradio@gmail.com. We're curious to know, what do you like? What don't you like? Who would you like us to talk to?
Sounded really weird.
It was weird, but you know what I meant. We're talking about racing, so
okay.
You can find us on Spotify, Facebook, and YouTube. See you next time on the RC Underground Radio Podcast.
I am a BB in a boxcar.